Hello students, today we are going to study about hotspots of biodiversity. This topic has been divided into two parts, that's part 1 and part 2. In part 1, we will study Introduction to Biodiversity, Megadiversity, Importance of Biodiversity and some regions of biodiversity hotspots. To begin with, let me give you a brief introduction about biodiversity. The word biodiversity is a contraction of biological diversity. Diversity is a concept which refers to the range of variation or differences among some set of entities. Thus, in essence, biodiversity represents variability of life in all forms, levels and combinations on the earth. Biodiversity is most conveniently but not exclusively described in terms of three conceptual levels, that is genetic diversity, species diversity and ecosystem diversity. Genetic diversity refers to the variation of genes within a species, that is between the individuals of a species. Species diversity refers to the variety of species within a region. Ecosystem diversity refers to the variety of ecosystems present in a biosphere, the variety of species and ecological processes that occur in different physical settings. Dear students, we will now study the concept of megadiversity. The megadiverse countries are a group of countries that harbor the majority of Earth's species and therefore considered world's top biodiversity rich countries. Conservation International identified 17 megadiverse countries in 1998. The identified megadiverse countries are the United States of America, Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Brazil, the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa, Madagascar, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, China and Australia. This group of countries has less than 10% of the global surface but support more than 70% of the biological diversity on Earth. To qualify as a megadiverse country, a country must have at least 5,000 of the world's plants as endemics. In biological diversity parlance, India is one of the 17 mega biodiversity countries of the world. With only 2.4% of the world's area, India accounts for 7 to 8% of the world's recorded plant and animal species. India has two complete global biodiversity hotspots, that is Himalaya and Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. The third one, that's Indo-Burma, lies partially within the Indian Northeast region. Biogeographically, India is situated at the tri-junction of three realms, that's Afrotropical, Indo-Malayan and Paleo-Arctic realms, and therefore has characteristic elements from each of them. This assemblage of three distinct realms makes the country rich and unique in biological diversity. Now students, we will study importance of biodiversity. Biodiversity is both essential for our existence and intrinsically valuable in its own right. It is essential for maintaining the ecological functions including stabilization of the water cycle, maintenance and replenishment of soil fertility, pollination and cross-fertilization of crops and other vegetation, protection against soil erosion and stability of food producing and other ecosystems. Today, a mere 10 to 20 species provide 80 to 90% food requirements of the world. In developing countries, a large majority of people rely on traditional medicines for their primary health care, most of which involve the use of plant extracts. There is an ethical value or existence value and aesthetic value attached to biodiversity. The rapid erosion of biodiversity in the last few decades has impacted on the health of land, water bodies and people. Biodiversity is the life support system of our planet. The connections between biodiversity and our sustainable future appear closer and closer the more we look. We literally need to conserve biodiversity like our lives depend on it. We will now study the biodiversity hotspots. The concept of biodiversity hotspots was given by British ecologist Norman Myers in 1988 as a means to address the dilemma of identifying the areas most important for preserving species. Myers recognized that despite their relatively small size, certain ecosystems account for a high percentage of global biodiversity. To qualify as a hotspot, a region must meet two strict criteria. It must contain at least 1500 species of vascular plants as endemics, and it has to have lost at least 70% of its original habitat. Thus, hotspots are areas with the richest and most threatened reservoirs of plant and animal life on Earth. In total, an updated analysis reveals the existence of 34 biodiversity hotspots. The 34 hotspots contain 44% of all vascular plant species and 35% of terrestrial vertebrates and encompasses only 1.4% of the Earth's surface. However, collectively, they have lost 88% of their original primary vegetation. The 34 biodiversity hotspots have been identified in the following 5 regions of the world: North and Central America, South America, Europe and Central Asia, Asia Pacific, and Africa. North and Central America play host to thousands of acres of important habitat. This includes 4 hotspots, that's California Floristic Province, Madrean Pine Oak Woodlands, Mesoamerica, and Caribbean Islands. The California Floristic Province is home to over 3,500 different species of plants, 61% of whom are endemic. This region is home to giant Sukayo, the plant's largest living organism, and its taller but less massive relative, the coastal redwood. The region holds a number of threatened endemic species such as giant kangaroo rat and the desert cylinder salamander. Now, Madrean Pine Oak Woodland. Madrean Pine Oak Woodlands is an area of rugged mountainous terrain, high relief and deep canyons. The pine oak woodlands are composed of stands of oak, pine, Douglas fir and fir. The pine oak woodlands are home to 1/4 of the Mexico's plant species. Mesoamerica. The Mesoamerican forests are the 3rd largest among the world's hotspots. Their spectacular endemic species include quetzals, howler monkeys, and 17,000 plant species. The region is also a corridor for many neotropical migrant bird species. The hotspots montane forests are important for amphibians. Caribbean islands. The Caribbean is home to at least 2% of the planet's species. The Caribbean islands support exceptionally diverse ecosystems ranging from montane cloud forests to cactus scrublands. which have been devastated by deforestation and encroachment. The hotspot has dozens of highly threatened species, including 2 species of solenodon, that is giant shrews, and the Cuban crocodile. The hotspot is also remarkable for diminutive nature of much of its fauna, boasting the world's smallest bird, the tiny bee, hummingbird, and smallest snake, Leptotyphlops bielinatus. So far, we studied the hotspots of North and Central America. Now, coming to the hotspots of South America. From Brazil Cerrado to the tropical Indies, South America has some of the richest and most diverse life on Earth. It includes 5 hotspots of the world, including Atlantic forest, Cerrado, Chilean winter rainfall Valdivian forests, tropical Indies, and Tumbes, Choco, Magdalena. Now, Atlantic forests. Atlantic forest of tropical South America boasts 20,000 plant species, 40% of which are endemic. More than 2 dozen critically endangered vertebrate species are clinging to survival in the region, including 3 species of flying tamarins. Over 52% of the tree species and 92% of the amphibians are endemic to this area. A species of the endangered 3-toed sloth, named the maned sloth, is endemic to the Atlantic forest. Cerrado. Cerrado region of Brazil, comprising 21% of country, is the most extensive woodland savanna in South America. It supports a unique array of drought and fire adapted plant species and a surprising number of endemic bird species. The endemic bird species include the crowned solitary eagle, the hyacinth macaw, toco toucan, buff-necked ibis, dwarf dynamo, and Brazilian merganser. Notable endemic mammal species include large herbivores like the Brazilian tapir and pampas deer, and large predators like the maned wolf, giant otter, ocelot, and jaguarundi. Amiwa is the largest lizard found in the Cerrado. The Chilean winter rainfall Valdivian forests. These forests harbor richly endemic flora and fauna. The Araucaria tree has been declared a national monument in itself, protecting it from logging. The rare Andean cat, mountain vizcacha, and Andean condor can also be found in the hotspot. Tropical Indies. The richest and the most diverse region on Earth, the tropical Indies region contains about 1/6 of all plant life in less than 1% of the world's land area. The tropical Indies is a biodiversity hotspot named the global epicenter of biodiversity according to the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. The threatened yellow-eared parrot, yellow-tailed woolly monkey, and spectacled bear are all endemic to the tropical Andes. Tumbes, Choco, Magdalena is bordered by 2 other hotspots, that is Mesoamerica to the north and tropical Andes to the east. Endemic animal species like the bare-necked umbrella bird and highly colored poison dart frogs are characteristic of the region. The white-winged guan of southern Ecuador and extreme northern Peru is threatened with extinction. Now students, we will study the hotspots of Europe and Central Asia. This area inhabits 4 hotspots including Caucasus, Irano-Anatolian region, Mediterranean basin, mountains of Central Asia. From the Mediterranean basin to the mountains of Central Asia, These 4 hotspots are unique in their diversity. Now, Caucasus. The Caucasus is an area of great ecological importance. It harbors some 6,400 species of higher plants, 1,600 of which are endemic to the region. Its wildlife includes leopards, golden eagles, and hooded crows. Among invertebrates, some 1,000 spider species are recorded in the Caucasus. Some relict species of vertebrates are Caucasian parsley frog, Caucasian salamander, Robert's snow vole, Caucasian grouse, and there are almost entirely endemic lizards of genus Diarrhea. The Caucasus Mountains are noted for a dog breed, the Caucasian Shepherd dog. Its rugged landscape is also home to the 2 species of highly threatened Caucasian taurs or mountain goats. The Irano-Anatolian region. The mountains and basins that make up the Irano-Anatolian hotspot contain many centers of local endemism. Nearly 400 plant species are found only along the Anatolian diagonal, a floristic line that crosses inner Anatolia. The hotspot includes 4 endemic and threatened species of viper. The Mediterranean basin. The flora of Mediterranean basin is dramatic. Its 22,500 endemic vascular plant species are more than 4 times the number found in rest of the Europe. Drosophiliaceae is the only plant family endemic to the region. Among the endemic species prominent in the Mediterranean vegetation are the Aleppo pine, stone pine, bay laurel, Kermes oak, strawberry tree, Greek strawberry tree, common myrtle, oleander, Acanthus mollis, and Vitex agnus castus. The hotspot also supports many endemic reptile species. Endangered mammals of the Mediterranean basin include the Mediterranean monk seal, the Barbary macaque, and the Iberian lynx. Mountains of Central Asia. The hotspot's ecosystem range from glaciers to deserts and include a highly threatened type of walnut fruit forest unique to this region. The hotspot is also home to a rich variety of ungulates, including the threatened Argali wild sheep. So far, we studied biodiversity, its importance, biodiversity hotspots, and some regions of biodiversity hotspots in part 1. With this, we conclude part 1 of biodiversity hotspots. Hope you have understood it.